What's up, guys? We're back. Bear with me. I got sick last week and I'm losing a little bit of my voice, so we're gonna try to run this. We got a good amount of love on our Ink Master video, so now I am going to react to this because I recorded a video the other day and I just felt so sluggish and non-energetic, but I mentioned the shop Bang Bang, and this is a GQ video saying tattoo artist from Bang Bang critiques celebrity tattoos.
David Beckham's tattoos are really iconic.
Now, Bang Bang is a shop in New York that got really popular after I think it's Justin Bieber got tattooed there, and if I'm not mistaken, Dr. Wu worked there, just a bunch of fine line people, and they're one of those shops where now like a good number of celebrities have gone in there, for the tiniest things, and they charge $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 for a tiny 1 hour tattoo. $6,000 for a 1 hour tattoo. You think I'd be sitting here trying to do this if I was charging $6,000 for a little tiny tattoo? That's crazy. But that's the power that celebrities have, and that's the hype movement, you know, where a lot of rich people go. So let's see. He's talking David Beckham first.
Or attempted to, but I mean, I can spot this tattoo and not see anything else and tell like this is David Beckham. This tattoo works because it complements shape. It almost feels like armor placed on his back. It's
okay, bro. I don't know who this is, and I'm not meaning any disrespect by this, but this tattoo is obviously one of David Beckham's first that he got in the early to mid 90s probably, and maybe it looked good back then, but it looks absolutely terrible now. Absolutely terrible. You can't tell me that does not look terrible. Okay? And I say all the time that on men, tattoos should kind of feel like armor. That is not armor. Armor is when, let's see, you're doing the outside of your forearm, okay? And you want the outside of your forearm to look strong because that's like an armor plate. You want the outsides of your forearm to look strong. This is not armor. Armor would be on the arm, sculpting the muscle. This doesn't sculpt the muscle, bro. Sorry for that rant, but come on.
It complements the body well, so it's a good one. Maybe
it's just a symmetrical tattoo on a symmetrical area. That's the only reason it complements the body well.
People wouldn't notice that I see is the reference used for the person.
It's terrible, bro.
I think it's someone jumping off a diving board. And anytime an artist uses a body...
He said he thinks the reference that they used is someone jumping off a diving board. Oh, I don't want to get off track, man. I did not come into this biased, but let's see. Angel, head down, tattoos on. I guarantee you it's not. I guarantee you it's not. I will make it my life's mission to find the reference used for that. I guarantee you. Diving board, motherfucker. There's no shot. I feel like I've seen this reference and it's just a shitty drawing from the 90s. Oops.
Body. Very oftentimes, unless they're an expert illustrator, we use a body reference. So this pose of them looking down, jumping up, toes pointed down, arms straight out, I think it's a diver.
I guarantee you the artist that did that tattoo back in the early to mid 90s, whenever David Beckham got that, did not go to an artist for a super simple muscle structure, angel with no face, head down, no face, and the most simple wings. I guarantee you he did not use a real picture of a person diving down like this. I would say that is a design that they found from Pinterest or whatever was popular back in the late 90s, early 2000s.
I love The Rock's tribal tattoo. Who's wearing tribal tattoos that are cooler than that?
Tell me he knows what kind of tribal this is, bro. Please don't just call this tribal, because this is not just tribal.
This guy's a hero. I hope he runs for president. I kind of miss his original tattoo. He had a bolt.
Okay. For anyone who's interested, I just did a sleeve of what is called Polynesian tribal, which is a very Hawaiian islander tribal. I'm working on my first sleeve ever. I never do it because I don't want to be disrespectful towards the people that were born and raised into it and know all the meanings, because I don't, and I'm not claiming I do, so I've never done it. But I have a client who's Hawaiian, and he only wanted me to do it, and I've told him that. I'm like, hey man, you know, a lot of times you'll have your uncle do this because, you know, small families in Hawaii, and you know, a lot of things will tell little tales or stories about your family or your life, you know, very, very, take that with a grain of salt, you know, but it'll have like meanings of where you live and whatever, you know. Tattoos can symbolize anything. So really, you know, wind bars, water bars, doesn't matter, you know, but
I hope he runs for president. I kind of miss his original tattoo. He had a bull.
Because that's what this guy does.
Really,
that's what the little fine line probably crap. I don't know what he does.
Successful tattoos. It was just iconic. When these tattoos are made, they're made body specific. This was
so. This guy's name is
body.
Bang Bang.
This isn't something that
and he named his shop Bang
picture
Bang
on a wall and they stick it on. This is specifically made for his anatomies. I think it's pretty.
I gotta look at his art after this.
This Polynesian tattoo was probably in the realm of 10 to 15 hours. Really depends on artist's speed, how well the skin takes in.
I was thinking it was a full sleeve. Say more like 20 hours. It's a big arm. It's a big arm.
Could take a little longer. He's a big boy.
A little longer. 20, 25, maybe even 30.
Who wears tattoos better than Rihanna? First of all, the Sanskrit on her hip moves a little as her hip moves, which carries your eye into her neck shape a little more. It almost forces you to see more curve. And then,
well, that's just the placement, man. That's just the placement. She's going to be standing straight when you put it on, so when it's on, it's straight. And then as the body moves, your skin will move with it.
Tattoo is great because it's just iconic. Like, she's a badass bitch. Like, who else should have a little
She is a
gun
badass.
Tattoo? It's like Rihanna. That was a strange story. It's like I had tattooed her, you know, a couple years prior to doing that gun tattoo, and she had a little gun necklace. My name's Bang Bang. It's like, of course I'm gonna try to talk her into, hey, let's get a little gun tattoo.
Hey, and no disrespect, because what I would give to have a clientele like that, man, what I would give. This is what I said in the beginning. This guy charges probably, you know, for that little gun, he probably charges like $5,000.
And so a couple years later,
I mean,
he did, and it was almost
fair play, man. Fair play.
Her shoulders. There was almost two of them, and one on each side, just above her armpit. And when I put the stencils on and I looked at her, it was the only thing I could see. And that's not the goal when you're tattooing, especially when you're tattooing someone iconic and you're tattooing a woman, like, you know, her face and her neck and her shoulders, and that is her image. And so I didn't want to do something that dominated that. And so when you look at Rihanna's tattoos, they're oftentimes delicate. And even though when you stare at her, she has, you know, one on her collar and one on her neck and another.
This guy's saying right now that the reason Rihanna has small tattoos is because he decided that she shouldn't have anything big and overpowerful. Now, I am not saying that's false, but 99 out of 100 times, my clients either want small or big. And I guarantee you, if Rihanna walked into my shop, she would want small.
Clavicle,
and that's all Rihanna. He does mostly is small.
Rihanna's tattoo, you know, it's not like some overwhelming tattoo. So we took them off the front of her and put it on her ribs, and I like it much better. Sometimes the frame makes the artwork, so this is the case here. I take no credit. I made both of these tattoos, but she makes them look good. Yeah, this is an American traditional tattoo like you would see made in the 20s, and it's great. It's really well done. This is done to pay tribute to that time period and style of tattooing. So
I remember when he did the Super Bowl, a lot of like the traditional guys that I know were posting and tagging him in it, and I do think it is done very like well and old school traditional. I don't think it's perfect. I mean, obviously there's a lot of fallout up in this top left area. I think the head could have been done better, and I think her hair could have been smoother, and just the shape of her. But it does, like he said, it does show a very 1920s feel, because that's kind of how they drew in the 20s. And I don't know if this traditional artist goes and, you know, draws from the 1920s to 1950s Flash, where everything was a little bit more weirdly shaped and not proportional. But it does look good, you know. I'm a perfectionist, so I'm not gonna say, like, I don't say any of my tattoos are
or
perfect,
anything
you
other
know, or
than trying to
great.
stay true to the time period
But it
and
looks
the
good.
style that this artwork was created in. So it works because it's true to what it's trying to be. It's trying to be a traditional Americana tattoo. When tattoos were introduced in America in the 1920s in New York on the Bowery, this is what they were making. And they were tattooing with no gloves on, and you know, their stencils were really rudimentary. They made flash designs. People come in, pick them out, and that's what you'd get, kid. And these were sailor tattoos. These were made for sailors in town because they were the ones who were getting tattooed at the time. So of course it's a mermaid.
Yep. Shout out the Pike.
It makes a lot of sense.
But that's
I love
West
this tattoo.
Coast.
I don't have any traditional tattoos. I don't make traditional tattoos, but I like.
I don't know if
when
he
I see
claims to
them done
know
well.
traditional history, but
I like that she has a theme, you know, make it red. I love that Kylie has a direction and she knows what.
See, this is the small stuff that I'm talking about that they probably do. It's crazy, man. It's fucking crazy. Like, imagine just doing that and getting paid for a month.
That her style is
work.
little red tattoos. I don't think I've ever met a person that has a bunch of little red tattoos. So
I have
like,
ton of girls. Maybe
I like
she
that it's
started that
unique.
trend.
We use really small needles to make these tattoos. So when people think of a needle, they think of one needle.
That heart is definitely like a 9 to an 11 liner, which is 9 or 11 needles, so that's not a small needle. This one up top, sure, that's probably a small needle, but
it's not actually like that with tattooing.
heart,
it's
yeah,
several
definitely
needles, and they're grouped together very much like this, and they come to a point, and that space in between each needle is what leaves ink behind. So if it's open, it's going to leave more ink behind over a bigger area, and if it's quite tight, like the area that we damage your skin is much smaller, but it is harder to make it consistent. So think if you're using a pencil and you try to draw a straight line, you'll see a lot of inconsistencies in that very thin straight line. Now if you take a big Sharpie and try to draw a straight line, it's going to look much smoother. So the thicker and bigger the line is, it's almost safer when we're tattooing because you can't see any of that wiggle or any of our imperfections. So
that was like a struggle I had the first 2 years of tattooing, but now I struggle none with taking a tiny needle and doing a straight line. Like I said, maybe he's trying to talk about that heart, but that heart was not with a tiny needle.
To make smaller lines. These take 30 seconds. Easy money.
Yeah, easy money. I'm sure on Kylie Jenner
all of your
too,
nerves are in your hands and your feet.
So what did he do? Did he do his micro portraits? Because I'd respect that.
So yeah, your pain receptors are right there. That looks like it hurt. I can relate. I like his barbed wire knuckles a lot. And I like the faces. He's got like a photo album on his knuckles. It's kind of funny. Well, they work because he's Post Malone, you know?
Did he do those,
so
though?
If he wasn't Post Malone, you know, and somebody walked in and I saw these tattoos, they're like, we got some work to do. But I think oftentimes when people have so many tattoos...
Okay, so he didn't do them because he's talking about them. But, bro, that skin is terrible. Look at how my knuckles heal.
The portraits are impressively healed for how small they are. You could tell who everyone is, which is awesome.
Oh, my mic turned off.
The bear is a really common photo.
I was just saying, look at my hand versus that. Those portraits, that's so tough to do on a finger.
Of a really famous bear. And so it's our job when we tattoo to try
I
to
do
find
not like
something
that
unique.
bear.
It's really tough. When I see it, I see a really commonly used bear reference.
Yeah, I don't like the bear.
And I'm curious, it might actually be the same one as on Justin Bieber's chest.
That's what I literally said in the other video. That's literally what I said. Yeah, I think it is. No, I don't know. I need to see a different angle of the hand, but the shadow on the teeth looks the same. The truth is that most bears, when they're like this, they look pretty identical because we smooth out the fur The one thing though, it's like why I don't like doing bears and why I think both of those tattoos look kind of on the weaker end is because when a bear's growling, his mouth takes up all his eye, so all you see is that mouth. So you have to really go in there and make that mouth detailed as and angry as hell with that nose, because you only have two tiny little beady eyes above it that you can't really see, and then the rest is just fur. And if the fur's not done, I'd say perfectly, like what's the point? Like, it's not done bad for a hand, but I think it could have been better, and they both need to be darker.
It is, right? You'd be twinsies, and you don't even know it. I don't think Post Malone or Justin Bieber are pissed that they have the same bear.
I don't even know who
Tank
Ruby
Girl.
Rose is.
Like, who is Tank Girl more than Ruby Rose? She's kind of iconic. Her tattoos are really cool.
What is that?
It's re-rendered
Tank Girl?
art, so it.
What is that? Is that from the Gorillaz? Tank Girl. Yeah, it is from the Gorillaz, huh? Is it? Oh, it's a comic? Huh. Comic movies.
It is someone else's art rendered into skin, and sometimes that works and sometimes it doesn't. In this case, for this design style,
That's how 90% of realism tattoos work, is you take someone else's art. Hence, Leonardo da Vinci, Michelangelo, man, we tattoo the greats every single day. That always works. If it's a good piece of work, it's good. Like, you're not going to redraw the creation of Adam, maybe you would, but you're not going to redraw like the bust of Poseidon and expect to make it much, much better than the original.
Like, it worked perfect for a tattoo, and it works perfect on her.
It does look good.
Something you wouldn't notice.
I would say that's maybe like Mike DeVries or something. I don't know. Unless you got it recent, I don't know.
Pigment and skin. So oftentimes when tattoos are fully colored, every inch of them is solidly colored.
Saturated, which is the equivalent of solid black, which makes color hurt
kind
more.
of a different technique. Tried to use a lot of her skin and blend into it, and so it's more skin than you think.
Yeah. Ooh, I like Scarlett
This is
Johansson.
cool. This is a super cool tattoo. It's super unique. This tattoo makes me happy to look at.
Yeah, it is a happy tattoo, but it's just going to look like a colorful blob in the next 5-10 years. That's why back in the day, traditional artists, let's go back to traditional history here, maybe even before the mid-90s, no one did tattoos without black outlines. No one. And then people that started doing color realism started changing the game. And there's one artist that would always get shit. What's his name, man? It's going to kill me. Boris. Boris Tattoo is his Instagram. And he actually guest spotted at a shop I worked at. And he's amazing. And he posted a color tattoo without black outlines from the 90s now. And I think back, it was like 2016, 2017 maybe. He posted a picture of it and it looked amazing. And it kind of got all the old school traditional artists like, okay, if I did this tattoo back then and it's 20 years old and there's no black outline, to kind of shut up. That we're always saying black outline, shut up. Like, put this tattoo on Ink Master and the judges are going to say, could have used a black outline, which I agree. I love black outlines. I put black outlines in a lot because I like them. I think it helps pop the color out.
Uniqueness.
But it looks good. Like, they did a good job.
Brave tattoo to jump into, because
it's an easy tattoo to do.
That's quote unquote, traditionally done. This pastel palette of coloring, and I like that it's in a circle. I'd be friends with Scarlett Johansson if she didn't have this.
I don't think it's anything.
So as far as first
done.
tattoos go, this is a good one. Like, well done, kid. He has better tattoos than his dad, actually. I think the amount of skin left over around
that
it
chief is a very common reference, but it looks good.
Tattoos need to be dominating of a body part. I think they can, be just displayed on a body part. So I like that it's not overwhelming. It's tattooed well. It's not a common tattoo. It's a difficult tattoo to make, so it's highly rendered and small. I've met him. He's awesome, humble kid who really loves tattoos and saves his money so that he can get them. I know how much Brooklyn loves his tattoos. And
David Beckham's son saving his money for tattoos. That's okay, let's go back to this one. So with these small tattoos, I would assume maybe this celebrity was the one that made these very popular back in the day. Now, I had a girl that was like fresh out of high school. She was 18. She came in with her mom, and it was probably like 2016, 2017, and she wanted the tiniest flower on her ankle. And it was just a little bit bigger than that, you know, tiny, so tiny. And it was just a simple flower, 1 circle, and then 5 circles around it, you know, like a simple flower. And I put it on her ankle where I thought it would look fine, nice and centered. And then her and her mom were like, maybe like just a tad to the left. And then I did it, you know, moved it a tad to the left. And then mom would come in, you know, maybe a tad up. So I move it, do it again. And then I'd put it where they want it. And the mom's like, maybe a tad down. Do it. And I probably stenciled this thing, I'm not even kidding, like 25 times. And I was just losing frustration. I was, you know, over it. We had put the stencil, like, they wanted me to put the stencil back to where I had it probably 3 or 4 times. And then they're like, let's just try. And it's her first tattoo. I'm trying to be understanding, you know, very understanding with her. And after that, I was like, okay, mom, we can't listen to her anymore. In front of her, I said this, because if it was up to my mom, you know, I wouldn't have any of these tattoos anywhere visible, you know, and she would not even want me to get these tattoos. So we got to cut mom out of this. And mom was like, you know, a little upset. And 2, I think if we're moving this design so much that you maybe aren't 100% sure, and maybe it's a good idea to, you know, put it down for a second and take a week, 2 weeks, however long you need, come back and we'll readjust, you know. And that's what they did. They left. The mom was super upset with me. It is what it is. But guess what? She comes back a month later, doesn't even want the flower anymore, wants something completely different. We put it on the ankle, first time, boom, let's go. And she's stoked on it, you know. So
that spot.
The small tattoos are kind of just like no tattoos in my eyes, you know what I mean? Cool. And don't let your mom or girlfriend tell you where to get your stuff. Enormous
skill to do these.
Those Roman numerals are very difficult to tattoo. People think they're easy. They're not. They're very difficult. Sometimes computer font and the super clean computer font, typewriter font, can be so difficult to do. Those look terrible.
These tattoos, it does require skill to do them perfectly. Traditionally, this tattoo is a little too tight for us.
I don't know what he keeps meaning traditionally, because one time he used it in like traditional tattooing sense. So it's obviously this guy wasn't, you know, raised in the industry traditionally. I mean, he wouldn't be doing anything that he's doing if he was raised traditionally. So I don't know what he means by traditionally.
Age really well. Those gaps,
the person that did it just blew it out. That's all it is. They're just blown out.
Close over time. It won't say "seek forever." They're all done well, and I'm sure they all mean a lot. But
we don't even get to see them.
Steph Curry would get some tattoos that are maybe like.
You know, the NBA actually, they got a lot of cool tattooers, man. But you know what? Shout out Bang Bang. Let's take a look at Bang Bang tattoo artist. Is that him? That's him. Is this him? Is this his work? If that's his work, I think that's the shop though. I want to see his work. Okay, let's just go ahead on a limb here and say that's his work. It's not bad at all. It's good tattooing. But I also think for what the shop is, like, I could think of hundreds of better artists off the top of my head. But that's just me, man. Anyways, shout out Bang Bang. Shout out GQ for making these videos. Please let me know what you guys think. If I was too much of a hater, I know I'm a hater. I'm biased to the people that come in the industry and charge out the ass and get the fame. I'm jealous of it, you know, but anyways, it's all love. Like the video, comment some stuff, and we'll respond, and we'll see you guys next time, okay? Don't forget to subscribe.